Hey, welcome everyone to a review of the Sennheiser 560S over-the-ear, open-back, wired headphones. Now, if you want to see the written version of this review, you can find a link to my website in the video description. So let's jump into the price right off the bat. These are priced in at $279 Canadian, although to be honest, if you look around hard enough, you can usually find it at a regular price of $229 instead. And oddly enough, over in the US, is priced at regular price, $229. So the reason I say that's weird is because the Canadian dollar is a lot weaker than the US dollar, but their numerical value is still the same amount. So as I mentioned earlier, these are wired only headphones and the cable length is, a very lengthy 72 inches, which is basically 6 feet in length. And you might be wondering, well, that's a bit too long for your preference. That's because they're not designed for portability. They're designed to be kept in one spot and stationary in one room, but I'll explain more of those details throughout the rest of the video. If needed for any reason, the cable can be taken out with a twist. It's a bit of a tough twist to take out, but it does work. One thing to keep in mind is that Sennheiser does not sell an official replacement cable, which is kind of weird. But then if you look around, third-party sellers on the internet do sell replacement units for you. The cable end that can go into a device is 3.5 millimeter, but it also has included a 6.3 millimeter adapter for versatility. The part of the cable that goes into the headphones itself is 2.5 millimeter end. Despite how long the cable is, thankfully, it doesn't tangle that easily in my experience. I found that if I ever just kind of jumble it up and pick it up quickly, it's very easy to just kind of unwind and plug into whatever device I need to. When wearing the headphones, any tugs or pulls or yanks on the cable itself does not distort or crackle the audio in any way. It always sounds crystal clear. There are no accessories included in the box except for kind of like a zip tie, which allows you to keep the cable organized if you needed. I'm not sure if that's really an accessory, but in case you're wondering, yeah, there's one included in the box. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the 6.3 millimeter adapter that can go on to the top of the 3.5 millimeter ending of the cable. Now, I mentioned earlier that these headphones are not designed for traveling and portability, but if you do need to take them with you on the go for whatever reason, there's no carrying case included, not even a soft one, which is a bit of a bummer, especially at this price point, because the cable length is quite long. I know I mentioned that there's a zip tie included in the box, but I much rather prefer having a case included instead to keep it protected and all together. A bit of a bummer in that regard. I personally have to admit, I find that it has a very appealing design to, well, how it looks. The thing that stands out for me in particular is that the headband frame wraps towards the back of the ear cups, and that stands out to me a lot. Mainly because most other headphones from other manufacturers, including Sennheiser, have the headband frame kind of go straight down to the middle of the ear cup and stop there, whereas these ones kind of wrap backwards. You also have a grill mesh on the outside of each ear cup because they're an open back design, and open back headphones are not that common, so it just adds more to the unique appeal. These headphones do not collapse and fold in at all. It's a solid frame. When wearing them, these are incredibly comfortable, like one of the most comfortable headphones I've ever worn. Even when testing them with non-prescription glasses, see, is it irritating with glasses? I noticed that the glasses frame kind of snug in just slightly, not a lot, nothing that would disturb you, but you can notice it ever so slightly. And that's probably because the headband flex is a little on the tighter side. Nothing unbearable, because again, it's super comfortable even with glasses, but I can notice that it's a bit on the tighter side compared to other headphones that I've reviewed. The ear cup cushioning is really thick and super, super soft. It's probably the most softest material that I've ever worn on headphones that I reviewed, thanks to the velour material. And I probably butchered the pronouncing of velour for all I know because I don't have proper etiquette, kind of a bum myself, but you know what I'm trying to get at. There's one annoying thing about the ear cup material is that it does attract dust rather easily. Nothing terrible, but you will certainly notice it. The interior headband cushioning is also quite thick and soft. Again, for people that have next to no hair, that'll be a great joy for you. I honestly have to say it'd be very difficult to find someone complaining about comfort with these headphones. One of the most comfortable I've ever used on any headphones that I've reviewed. Now, when it comes to working out, I do not recommend these at all. Now, when I'm stationary, not doing anything, my ears don't get sweaty or hot or anything. They're very comfortable. But these are over-the-ear headphones, so when you are working out, your ears are gonna sweat like crazy, no matter the circumstance, just because your ears are encompassed in the ear cups. But because of the velour material, it's gonna get even more irritating and more agitating. You also have the cable kind of dangling down, so for most exercises, like say weight training, it's dangerous. But even if you're trying to do cardio exercises, don't use these. They're not meant for it. You might actually wear them out rather quickly. If you're looking for a certain color to match your preference, unfortunately, that's not really an option as it only comes in a black color. When you look at the Sennheiser website, it's listed as weighing a total of 280 grams, except that's with the cable included. Without the cable, just the headphones alone, they weigh 240 grams, which is not too bad. But even if you do consider 240 grams to be heavy, which honestly is not that bad, you won't really notice it on your head because they're just so comfortable. I do have to admit the body construction is not that strong, so be cautious if you plan to travel often with them, even though it's not designed for that, as I've mentioned several times. Now, this shouldn't be a surprise, but if you look in the manual, it says to keep them in a dry environment, which automatically means that they're not going to be dust and water resistant. In case the ear pads do get damaged, Sennheiser does not sell official replacement units, but I did find some third-party sellers online that sell their own type of fabric replacement. If you need to adjust the headband, it's done in notches. It is not a slider mechanism. And the ear cup rotation is rather minimal when it comes to going forward and back. Not too bad though, because the headband flexibilities to go forward and back helps with the situation. When resting on my neck, it's not a good experience at all because the ear cups are so huge. Looking left and right, it's like rubbing against my chin, and it's a bit difficult to look further left or right. And looking down is just as annoying because the ear cup cushioning is so thick, I can hardly get my chin down. But they're not designed for that purpose. They're designed for stationary use in a single environment. And when you're not using them, you just take them off and put them down. There are no controls on the headphones at all. Not on the body itself, not even within the cable. These are simply designed for high quality audio listening to, and that's it. Switching to noise canceling, there's no ANC, active noise canceling, whatsoever. There's no transparency mode, which basically means that if there were microphones built onto it, it'll project sound from the outside into the headphones so you can hear your exterior environment easily. That doesn't exist either. There's no technology of whatsoever of any kind. And honestly, you wouldn't even need transparency mode because wearing these, you can hear almost everything around you easily. These are open back headphones designed to be used in a super quiet environment to really enjoy the quality of the audio that you're listening to. So these are great to be used in, say, an office of your own if you're in a quiet house with no kids, even though my kids are yelling and screaming. So listening to, say, a quiet office environment, that'll work great. Although if you plan to use this in a quiet environment like, say, the library, and you're kind of jamming to, I don't know, jazz or lounge music while studying, not going to work that well, mainly because these are open back headphones. There's going to be a lot of sound leakage. So if someone's sitting next to you in the library and you are playing music rather loud while studying or something, there will be a lot of sound leakage on purpose, so the person next to you might be disturbed. These should be used in a quiet, independent environment instead. There is no battery to be used with these headphones. It is purely powered by the auxiliary cable plugged into the device. Switching over to microphone. No microphone. This shouldn't be surprising at this point. There's no microphone whatsoever. Again, this is designed simply for high quality audio listening. Which brings us to the main meat and potatoes of the review. Except wait, the meat would be the main part of the review and the potatoes would be the side, I think. But anyway, audio quality, that's what you're probably interested in now that we're here. These sound great, and it's really hard for me to explain, especially if you haven't heard this type of experience before. It sounds like you're listening to vinyl. So if anyone's listened to a vinyl record before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not sure how that's possible because the sources I've been plugging it into are digital, but I have high quality audio files and it sounds like I'm listening to a vinyl record, which is a good thing. It just gives that unique type of sound that, say, Spotify, which is not great quality, or say a CD just doesn't provide. Now, out of the box with a flat profile, everything is kind of well balanced, although I found bass to be lacking a little bit. I'm a bass enthusiast, but even if you're not a bass heavy centric person, I found it a little bit on the lower side. Now, when it comes to adjusting with an equalizer though, I found performance to be stellar. When adjusting the bass levels, it can get very deep, surprisingly. Of course, if the song is correct, like certain hip hop songs, although despite it getting very deep, it doesn't provide a kind of subwoofer punch in your head like, say, some Sony headphones would. It's not designed to do that. It's designed to increase the bass level without giving it a punch, because then it would kind of take away from the other audio, which is the mids and highs. When it comes to increasing vocals, I have never heard vocals so clear in my life on any headphones that I've reviewed. And I've reviewed headphones that after tax here in Canada come out close to $550, closer to $600. These still have the best vocals I've ever heard. It sounds like the person is singing in the same room as me, live, in person. It's just absurdly damn good. When it comes to increasing highs, if you tweak it up just slightly, it'll get kind of sharper and fuller. Although if you increase it a little too high, it'll get piercingly annoying. But you don't have to do that, of course. So if you're in a quiet environment like I mentioned earlier and you just want pure audio bliss, these headphones will not disappoint. Lastly, there is no software whatsoever, not even from Sennheiser. If you want to adjust it with an equalizer, you got to use a third-party one on your computer or cell phone, whatever it's connected to. These are designed to be used in a super quiet environment in which you can just sit back, relax, and just listen to audio at almost its finest quality possible, given the price point. I do wish it was a little bit cheaper though, considering how many trade-offs you have to make, which is rather significant. I know the main focus of this is just simple audio quality bliss. They could have been a little bit cheaper. And that's pretty much a wrap for this review. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, be sure to check out my social links and website link in the video description. Hit that like button, it does help, subscribe, and thanks for watching.